West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't understand why this is an issue.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill
KNUS.
Show. It's 8 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. We are Denver's right, left, center discussion show where you're invited to join the conversation by giving us a call at 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Bill, let's go to Pete in Monument. We're talking homelessness. The city of Loveland's mayor just opened City Hall, said to the homeless, come on in, take up residence at least for the evening. I'll stay here with you. Is it a form of compassion? Or is it a...
just lost Pete.
Oh, did we lose him?
I pushed the button. I know, right, because yesterday I pushed the wrong button. Today was the right button.
Pete, call us back.
Yeah, call us back. Yeah, nuts.
But, is it compassionate for her or is it a sign of failure? I see it as a sign of failure because on their website, they've talked about addressing homelessness for 10 years. And it got to a point where they're like, well, just come on into City Hall and stay the night. Let's go back. We got Pete. Good morning, Pete. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Thanks for calling back, Pete. How are you?
Morning, guys. Great subject. If I could, I would just like to give my point of view as a police officer for 30 years. I think you guys nailed it on the head. What we don't see as a society, or very few people see, is that the economic cost that this causes the rest of society. I can tell you that dealing with the homeless, it's the exorbitant amount of money we pay to not only try to treat these people, house these people, but the amount of money that they spend on hospitalizations, on the crimes that these people commit. All your shopliftings, all of your trespassings, all of simple assaults, or the majority of them, are committed by the homeless. And it's not just a mental health problem, it's an addiction problem. And what we've done as a society, especially in Colorado, I think, has enabled people to be homeless, and we've created a business environment around it. If we look at what we could do for these people, it's actually tough love. It's you either get off the drugs, or we are going to incarcerate you. And Bill, I think I'm on the same page with you up into the point where you say, well, incarceration costs more.
Yeah, but talk to us about the incarceration. Talk to me about the opinion, because I'm real curious about what you're saying on that. And I know I don't have all the right answers, but yeah, go ahead.
The amount of homeless that use the hospital to get out of the weather, and they demand to use the hospital, and the law requires us to take them or to call an ambulance out to take them to the hospital because they're cold or drunk or on drugs. What do you think the average cost of an emergency room visit for these people is?
Oh, it's going to be 30 to 50,000. Okay. Yeah.
There you go. And what I'm saying is to incarcerate these people is much cheaper. You'd be amazed at how many people I run across homeless that are missing toes, fingers from frostbite. And now these people are now disabled for the rest of their lives. We're going to write them a check, and they'll never work again. They'll never be part of society in a meaningful manner. And we continue to just write them checks or send them to the hospitals and do all this stuff. We need to have legislation that basically says you can be a habitual misdemeanor committer, and we are going to incarcerate you. We're going to get you treatment that works within a prison system or within an incarceration system, like Step Denver, because all the rest of this nonsense doesn't work, this counseling, this other stuff. We need tough love here, because people who sit back and say, well, what would Jesus Christ say? Jesus Christ said, if you don't want to work, you won't eat. Jesus Christ wouldn't approve of allowing people to be on fentanyl for 40 years of their life, or heroin or meth. So these people that want to judge people like Jeff, you have no idea. Go and spend time under a bridge in a big city in this state, and you're going to find out real quick that most of these people don't care what you think. They want you to support and enable their drug habits. The other thing we need to do is we need to recognize that government has caused this problem. You want to legalize marijuana that leads to other drugs? This is the chickens coming home to roost. You know what? You want open borders where fentanyl pours across the border and we are losing 100,000 Americans? That is how government has contributed, especially one political party has contributed to the problem in this country. There is the blame.
Pete, this is where I was actually with an event with Vic Vela, and the room was kind of like overwhelmingly progressive when we were talking about drug policy. And I made people literally gasp in the audience when I said it is more compassionate to incarcerate somebody for open-air drug use than it is to allow them to continue to live on the streets using drugs and being drug addicted. It is more compassionate because here's why. And I had somebody come up and talk to me afterwards about it and go, you know, when I got a call from law enforcement that my son was in jail, I knew that night he was going to live through the night. When they just disappear for months on end and live drug addicted intense, I have no idea if they're going to make it through the night and if I'm ever going to see them again. Because when somebody's incarcerated, either for open air drug use or theft or all the other trespass, the things that, Peter, you were brilliant to lay out, sometimes comes with being homeless, we're at least putting them into a process of oversight where somebody is saying, you know, we're going to make sure you're not using drugs today. We're going to, lock you in a box, but at least we're watching you. We're providing oversight. You're going to get a meal, and you're going to be safe today, as opposed to, I mean, Peter, I can't imagine what it's like to be a homeless, drug-addicted woman on the streets of Denver and the amount of assault they go through. I just don't see that as compassionate. I'm sorry.
Because it isn't compassion, and you just spelt it out. I think both of you have spelt it out. It's not compassion to allow people to slowly kill themselves, or in some cases, kill themselves in a fast manner. I don't know the backside of treatments, but I know that what we are doing isn't working. Things like Step Denver are working. What we need to do is restructure the entire system to make sure that these people are safe. It takes months sometimes to have some of these drugs work through the system, to have your brain rewired, to have the chemical dependency broken, months. And to sit back and say, well, we're going to get this done in 30 days, and we're going to release someone who has 80 misdemeanors of shoplifting at Walmarts and all this other stuff, which is a drain also on the police and emergency services, when you have people stealing cars and you're not able to properly do your job because you're continuously running around chasing these people who aren't dealing with any kind of ramifications for their behavior, because we have a legislature that wants to sit back and say these are victimless crimes. They're not victimless crimes. If I'm a store owner and I have to sit back and raise my prices, or if I have to hire security at my damn store because people are constantly coming in and stealing from me, it's not a victimless crime.
Now, Peter, I got a question for you. At what point do we go from incarceration to institutionalization? And the reason I ask that is I understand the idea of getting them off the street and trying to get them clean, but the question being, do we say that they're in for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you know there's going to be some constitutional issues of picking someone up and placing them either behind bars or into an institution without some sort of a timeline or framework? And the other problem that I see in the incarceration side of things is rehabilitation on the other end. There have been a lot of people, as far as recidivism, that have gotten out and gone right back into the addiction cycle. And so I'm worried that what we've done is we end up taking this homeless camp or this homeless program, we've put it inside of a prison or another location, and we're repeating the same cycle. And what I'm worried about is that eventually our society comes to the conclusion of, well, we can't trust, and I'm using air quotes, these people to be responsible for themselves, so now we have to institutionalize all of them. That's what I'm worried about. So, help me understand this.
And I agree. So the constitutional argument is a really valid one. But the simple fact of the matter is I think if you can sit back and say you're a danger to yourself and others, then government or society has the expectation to try to intervene and make your life better, okay? If someone wants to sit here and say that the homeless are only victimizing the homeless, that's wrong. We have the statistics to prove that.
Yeah, you're right about that, absolutely.
Okay, so now we come into, and Bill, you bring up a good point. Do we institutionalize or do we incarcerate? I think it's got to be a little bit of both. I think what you can do is you can start creating facilities that deal with nothing but drug-addicted crimes, and you send these people here, and this is way beyond my purview or way over my head, but you get them the treatment that actually works. Things like Step Denver. Things like halfway houses, things like you're monitored daily for drug use, alcohol use. And I'm sorry, again, I go back to, you know what? Why don't we create laws that say you can be a habitual offender with a certain amount of misdemeanors where, you know what? You're costing society millions of dollars going to the hospital, courts, all that stuff. And that at that point, we sit back and we give them a 3 strikes and you're out type of rule. But if you want to continue to shoplift, to trespass, to assault, you know what? We are taking your freedom away. And at the end of 2 or 3 years in an incarceration, if you're off drugs, maybe your brain resets and maybe you have a second chance at things. But we can't keep going down and treating these people like they're victims. They're not victims. We have to differentiate between, you know what, the single mother who's homeless with 2 kids living in her car and the person who you can walk up to underneath a bridge while it's snowing out and say, hey, I will take you to the homeless shelter. I will provide food to you. And they will look at you and go, no. And when you ask them why, they're going to tell you, because I can't do drugs in a homeless shelter. That's a simple fact of 90% of the people I deal with that on the streets. They don't want your help. They want to be able to do drugs and to live their lifestyle, even though it's incredibly devastating to themselves and the rest of society.
Oh, Pete, that was fantastic, man. That's the way we're going to have to end it because we got to get to Blake's news. I appreciate that, and we agree on so much, and I really appreciate your perspective. And one thing I want to share as you're leaving us, we transition into Blake, is something that you just said there about coming up and offering people help. My dad, when I started, and we talked yesterday about me riding the rough, tough, and dirty, the RTD, public transportation as a kid, one of the things my dad told me, and this is at like 3rd grade, he handed me a $20 bill and said, put that in the back corner of your wallet, not in the normal place where the money is. Put it in the back corner and hang on to it, because you're going to get people that are going to come up to you and they're going to panhandle. And they're going to want you to give them money. And he said, universally, you tell them, I got money in my wallet. I will take you to that cafe, that restaurant, and I will buy you a meal right now. I had that $20 bill in my pocket when I graduated high school. Nobody ever took me up on the offer. Pete, I appreciate the call, man. That was great. That was fantastic.
Man, to have police officers like call and give us their perspective
awesome.
Is one of the things I love about this show. And, dude, we're getting text messages, people listening on the app in the Great Sand Dunes National Park.
Holy crap. Hey, nice to hear from you. That's awesome.
Most of the time, Bill and I feel like we just talk to each other, but
yeah.
have
and whoever's in the hall.
Right?
Yeah.
There's so many great listeners, and to have the expertise. Like yesterday, when we're talking RTD, and former bus drivers called us.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Today, we're talking homeless guys that deal with the homeless on a daily basis, calling us to give their perspective. This show is crushing it. I can't tell you how much it means to me to have such great callers. You guys are the best. Man, this just gets my heart going.
This is so cool.
I want to get to Blake here in just a second. Let's talk Guy Rees. Folks, my wife and I went to Guy Rees They have locations all throughout the Denver metro area. We went to the one in Parker, sat down with a professional designer. They showed us their incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. My wife asked tons of questions, got details. Then we had them out to our house where they did like laser measurements. They brought samples out. We got to see what the different blinds would look like in our windows, the different paint colors, and what it would all look like. It was absolutely fantastic. We now have them installed. They're remote controlled. They're like powered. It's amazing. I love it. Just press a button. All the blinds in the bedroom and bathroom go up. The kids have them in their bedrooms as well. Hunt House thrilled with our Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. They also do paint. They do full room decor. So get that personalized in-home consultation. Have them come out to you. Get that expert advice right in your own home. Visit GuyReese.com, GUIRYS.com, GUIRYS.com, GuyReese.com. Schedule your in-home consultation. Now is time for news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good Tuesday morning. 47 and cloudy in Denver. It's about 50 in the sand dunes. Expecting a high of 62 today. This portion of the news is sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
We've had a hell of a couple of weeks, but I did get some exciting news this weekend. According to a new poll.
Oh, Jimmy Kimmel was back flip-flapping his gums again last night.
From YouGov, which is a serious polling site, or they were before this. I am more popular than the President of the United States. Thank you. Oh, thanks. You remember the guy who keeps saying I have no ratings? Well, that makes two of us. They polled more than 1,000 people, and I lead Trump by 16 points. I'm at +3. He's at -13.
But this morning on CNN, Harry Enton.
You know, you go back to October of 2024, 44% of the American public viewed him favorably. Now, despite everything, look at this, 43%, which is well within the margin of error of that 44%. And here's the thing to keep in mind. This was good enough to get Trump reelected back in 2024. And Donald Trump is basically at the same point here right now, which I think would surprise a lot of folks, especially a lot of folks on the left who very much disagree with a lot of what Donald Trump has done.
But what do you see is underneath that and driving that? Why is he basically the same?
Okay, you know, to quote the esteemed caller Dennis Green, the former head coach in the National Football League, Donald Trump is who the voters thought he was. What are we talking about here?
Yes, that's exactly right. And since he brought up Denny Green.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Thanks, Coach.
That's still great to me. After he's done with that, the PR director goes, thanks, Coach. Yeah, hey, you know, DJT is who the voters thought he was. And now, day 7 of the partial government shutdown, the FAA says the control tower at California's Hollywood Burbank Airport was unmanned Monday evening due to staffing issues during the ongoing shutdown. Air traffic controllers have to work but aren't being paid, and some have started calling in sick. A dozen FAA facilities experienced staffing issues on Monday, including Phoenix and right here in Denver at DIA and the FAA facility. Thank you very much for that, Democrats. A 47-appointed judge is blocking DJT's deployment of federal troops to Oregon. Meanwhile, National Guard troops could be hitting the streets of Chicago. Today, actually, it was Monday, Stephen Miller on CNN.
On the substance of the question, is it the case that, as Pritzker frames it, you are profiling brown people, that this immigration crackdown is designed to go after people of color?
It's such a, oh, what a dumb question. The illegal aliens who are here are taking jobs away from blacks, they're taking jobs away from whites, They're taking jobs away from Latinos. They're taking their health benefits away. They're taking their school slots away. And, of course, in many cases, they're committing heinous crimes.
And today, Israelis mark the 2 years since the horrific 2023 Hamas attack. The attackers killed around 1,200 people and took more than 250 hostages. There are hopes that a peace deal is in sight as negotiations continue. The Supreme Court will hear a high-profile case today over conversion therapy.
The case is a challenge to the Colorado law that bans therapy aimed at changing a minor's sexual orientation. Backers of the law say it's harmful to gay and transgender children. A Christian therapist says the law is an infringement on her free speech. Nearly half of all U.S. states ban the practice, and the High Court's eventual ruling could have sweeping impacts. I'm Jim Roop.
And millions hate her, millions love her. Candace Owens chatting with Charlie Kirk a couple of days before he was assassinated.
So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, ugh. Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And somebody writes, a donor writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term. In my opinion, like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was very clear and he was very explicit, and he did not back down, not in that Hamptons meeting, which they're all lying about, nor in this text thread.
All right, millions await the trial. Millions and millions. NHL drops the puck tonight. Brand new season. Avs at the Kings. LeBron James teasing a major announcement this morning at 10 o'clock. Retirement or headed to another team? Or will he become a crime expert?
He's still playing basketball?
Yes,
LeBron James? Seriously? I thought he...
Yes. Yes,
well,
he
ask
is.
Lakers fans about that as far as how well.
Yeah, Lakers fans are hoping that no matter what, he's leaving.
He's gone.
So,
That's hilarious. I totally thought he had just... I see him on commercials with Kevin Hart.
Yep.
But I mean,
they're horrible.
Never reached the level of Kobe or Michael.
He's 6 on my list. My son just goes through the ceiling when I say that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's fine. We got to explore this for a minute. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
why? Talk to us about why the son.
Well,
now, do you think
I
it's
mean,
recency bias, the idea that, he's only yay tall and the only thing he's had is LeBron? What is it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is, and I've always thought this, he is the absolute greatest athlete in the world, or he was at one time.
LeBron James was?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I could get there on that one.
I mean, because his size, his athleticism, his vertical.
Yeah, when he was
just
early 20s.
everything.
Yeah, I could get to that.
Just a super. When he was 18, I mean, absolute super freak. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, he's huge, and he played like a guard. He played like he was 6'1". He ran the floor that way. He could jump. He could play defense. He dominated. I mean, everything. However, I don't think he's top 5 because to me, he didn't make players, his teammates, better around him for the most part.
No,
I'm
not a huge basketball
MJ's number
fan,
one, and you could pick after that. But for me, LeBron James, and he picked his teams. He went to Miami. I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to go back to Cleveland. Make my superstar team there, and then I'm going to go to LA and create my own little super team. Just not the one to me.
Yeah,
he's not the GOAT.
I remember when he first entered the league and he was a Cavalier, he dragged that team to the finals. There was nobody else on that team to play.
No
and
doubt.
he dragged that team just because of who he was. But you're right. The idea that he did not have that supporting cast around him. We forget that current NBA coach, former Chicago Bull, Steve Kerr, is a satellite player to the Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen world,
Right.
but is important because even Mike knew that when Steve is set up in the corner, I can kick him the ball and he's going to hit it. And I think you're right that I don't think LeBron had that type of facilitation ability inside of his game at the time. He felt he had to put it on his back and do it. Also, I would put MJ as number one simply because he's a killer. That's it.
Yeah.
He had a level.
No doubt.
Bird was probably the one for me that was the next best at that level of playing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Magic was just having so much fun. Magic was incredible. But for me, MJ and Bird, they were the guys that would smile at you and then just shiv you and understand that this is the deal. And I remember there was an All-Star game where there's a story that Bird walks in and everyone's like, blah, 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 blah. And Bird walks into the room during the All-Star game and goes, so... which one of you guys has finished second in the three-point contest tonight?
Exactly.
And he won. That's the thing.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, the number of stories you have, Bird, looking at the guy and saying, I'm going to take this ball, I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to shoot over the top of you, and there's nothing you can do. Those stories are legion inside of the NBA. That's a killer. Yeah, that's a killer.
No doubt about it. And I'm not talking about off the court, which I didn't have a problem with him off the court, but Kobe to me as a player was like, I mean, I could and a leader in the locker room. Yeah. Oh my Lord!
Have you ever heard the story about? Have you ever when Schumpert? It's I forget his first name. When he's a rookie, and he comes out and he has to play Kobe and cover him for the first time. And
I
he's
haven't
out
heard
there.
that story.
Yeah, so Schumpert talks about it, and he goes, "I'm out there," and he goes, "I am balling." He goes, "I'm blocking the ball from Kobe. I've got 2 blocks. I've got 2 steals from him. I am balling." And he goes, "This is great. I'm feeling great. Coach is all high on me." And he goes, "We're starting the fourth quarter." Kobe looks at him and goes, "Yeah, you've had a good game, kid. Nice job." And the dude's like, "Wait, I'm looking at the score, but there's still another entire period. It says 12 minutes up there, 15. It's right there." And Kobe's like, no. And he said, first time down the floor, Kobe brings him into the lane. Shake this way, shake this way, shake this way. Throws the ball off the backboard, catches it, and spits it into the corner. 3. And he looks at him and goes, "Yeah." And Shumpert's like, "Uh-oh." And he's like, "What happened?" And Shumpert's in the conversation was like, "He was all normal the rest of the game, and then what happened here?" He goes, "What is he on?" And he said, "He just went off." And by the third time down the floor, Shumpert's like, "Coach, get me out." And he sat down for the rest of it and watched Kobe go off for like 30 or 40 in the final quarter. He goes, "Yeah, that was it." Yeah, that was it. He said Kobe was just kind of playing.
How's Bronny? Is Bronny James good?
No. No.
I mean,
he could be a role player at best in the NBA, at least right now.
He shouldn't be there.
Yeah, at best.
But
at
my
best
sons will just fight me all day on that. And I'm like, the guy, he should not be on the bench. He may be a developmental player, maybe that's what, but no, absolutely. That is total daddy ball right there.
Yeah.
That is,
the one I'm looking forward to, though,
say.
is Elijah Wan's kid is getting some sniffs around.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, that could be fun because
that could be.
Akeem was so smart.
He's my number 3.
Oh,
yeah.
like
there's Akeem. I mean, his footwork, man.
I like that a lot. Yes,
what he
his
did,
footwork,
he
was
revolutionized
so good. The dream shake. Yeah, it's just so good. Yeah, he was doing stuff. He's doing stuff that Jokic was doing before Jokic was doing it. Not on the same level, but he had that idea of being able to manipulate you inside of the blocks and what he could do. Yeah, he was amazing.
He was, man. Yeah. I love it. Well, they'll be starting up soon, so we'll see what LeBron has to say. I did have a joke in there, but I'm going to say it again just in case. He's either going to go to another team, retire, or become a crime expert. Oh, I forgot. He's already one of those. So that was my joke. 46 in Aurora, 44 in Castle Pines, 47 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Your 710 5-day forecast going to see a lot more sunshine across the Denver metro, and that'll help us get to the mid-60s for highs today. Lows tonight will be in the mid-40s with a clear sky. Then we repeat the process and continue to get warmer Wednesday through Friday. Tomorrow, highs in the upper 70s, low 80s Thursday and Friday. Lows going to be upper 40s and low 50s. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call 720-85 851-1691 or visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Bill, you know how we have the law enforcement guy call in?
Yeah.
And share his experience on homelessness with us?
Yeah.
Well, there's a new opportunity for law enforcement here in Denver with all those woke mayors and politicians and DAs and judges, and you're out there trying to keep the city safe. And you're running into that woke political baloney. Well, we've got a new opportunity for you. It's called ICE.
A recruitment ad on TV encourages Denver law enforcement officers to join immigration and customs enforcement.
You took an oath to protect and serve, to keep your family, your city safe. But in sanctuary cities, you're ordered to stand down.
Denver police say they're not aware that any of their officers are taking up the offer to join ICE. With the federal agency's new signing and retention bonus program, Denver says it pays its officers higher salaries DPD also says that contrary to the ad's claims, Denver has seen a reduction in crime and that its officers do not stand down. ICE did not offer any details on its recruitment efforts in Colorado, but says it has received 150,000 applications nationwide from people wanting to join ICE. ICE says it has extended job offers to 18,000 candidates.
Bill, you remember when the Wyoming sheriff put up the little billboard right above where all the Denver police actually fill up their cars before they go to work? And it said, essentially, like, you want to fight real crime, come to Wyoming. So
I remember that one.
Where do you start? Okay, so Denver, Seattle, a number of cities are facing these recruitment ads. I think they're brilliant because, look, not everybody's going to leave their hometown. For instance, I have family in Colorado. The political opportunities for someone who's a conservative in Colorado, very, very, very small. You can't work for any statewide offices. You can't be a lobbyist. You're just basically kind of...
I can do you one better, though. The political opportunities for Bill Thorpe, even smaller. Just saying. The window of people that are vote for me for anything is much, much smaller than for you, sir.
You have carved out an island unto yourself.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. If I ran for anything, you'd be able to count my vote total on a single hand and probably have a couple fingers left over. So, yes.
Suzanne's texting in, are you shilling for ICE? If ICE is willing to send the check 100%, I will shill for ICE.
Again, I hate to say it, but if the check clears, I'll advertise for them. I'm sorry. Yeah, I will.
So, look, you're going to have DPD and people like that. In fact, I ran into a number of DPD people that live in Elizabeth. They don't want to live anywhere near Denver, but they love the action, and it pays well, so they commute. So you have people that have families and kids and schools and stuff. We're not going to move. At some point, we may head back east to Washington, D.C. Who knows? But we have kids, so we're going to put up with living in this town. But you do have 20-year-olds, maybe just finishing high school, who were thinking about law enforcement. And ICE is coming along and offering a $50,000 bonus. Now, they pay it over 3 years. They're willing to help cover some of your student loans, and you get to travel. When I went through that DEA Citizens Academy, I even said to Stephen Tubbs, I was like, man, if I was 20 years old and not married and didn't have kids and the opportunity to go down to Colombia and fight drug lords would have been amazing. I absolutely should have jumped at that. Wrong season of life for me right now. But I can see those ads 100% working. You have some kids in Denver, Colorado that are looking at a job in law enforcement. You're looking at all of the politics you got to deal with DAs and mayors and progressive policies that are going to tie your hands in this community versus come work for the Trump administration, ICE, travel the country, kick down doors. I could absolutely see that advertisement working for some people. What do you think?
Yeah, and the advertising absolutely can work. But again, we need to keep in mind that it is advertising, not policy. And what I mean by that, and of course, Jeff knows exactly where I'm going, but for the audience, I'll outline that in that advertisement, it says, join ICE and go after the worst of the worst. It even outlines gangs and kidnappers and traffickers and be all you can be kind of a thing. That's the advertising, the marketing contained therein, because we have seen, in my opinion, based on ICE's enforcement technique, not necessarily the targets all the time. It seems to be more, in some cases, a numbers game as far as we need to have this many arrests per day, per week, per month, per quarter, and deportations as well. There seems to be some sort of an actuarial table on someone's desk rather than
That's Stephen Miller's.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it probably is. And that's the thing that I'm worried about, is that it's more about numbers and how many rather than making sure that we get the worst of the worst. And what I mean by that, and the reason it's important to me, is let's say that just for the conversation, that we have 10,000 illegals inside of a community, 10,000 people that shouldn't be there. And again, pick the community you want, don't care. You have 10,000. And if we're going after the worst of the worst, you may remove only a fraction of that 10,000. But if we're trying to remove all the 10,000, unless we get them all, the chances of leaving behind some of the worst increases significantly. So I'm worried about priorities. And that's where I see our current ICE enforcement having a problem. I would submit that if the Trump administration could show that the majority, if not a supermajority, of these arrests are these real hardened criminals, you would see a heck of a lot more even groundswell and support to what is going on. But I feel some of the push. Yeah.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's both and.
Yeah,
so
okay.
not only
Yeah,
are you going to get to kick down doors and go after the worst of the worst, you can swing by the Home Depot, grab some folks, and then have a nice lunch, turn them in. That's not a bad job.
But that's not the advertising that they gave you.
Yeah, but that's the reality of the job.
Oh, I know.
It's kind of both and. It's like saying when you join the Army, you're going to be jumping out of helicopters the whole time. Not really. You're going to be doing a lot of grunt work that isn't necessarily oriented towards jumping out of airplanes. So I think people generally get a sense that that's how they appeal. But once you get into the service, you're going to do whatever they tell you to do.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about as far as once you get in there. It's the advertising versus what reality is. That I assume that most of the men and women that woke up this morning in Colorado and put the uniform, the badge, and holstered their gun on their hip and went out to protect the community didn't do it because they were super worried about the speeders or super worried about shoplifters. I'm just guessing, the motivation was, my motivation there was to stop larger crimes, that you were going after things that were really impacting and issues inside the community. If someone did join up because they really enjoyed writing those traffic tickets and they're super concerned about the moving violations, I think they're an outlier. And that's what I'm talking about when ICE comes into you and says, we're going to go after the worst of the worst. And you're out there and you're going after the worst of the worst, and the worst of the worst enforcement is showing up at the parking lot of Home Depot. That's the thing. And so that's the marketing
every
message.
Military recruitment ad. I mean, the Navy has like the Navy SEALs, and you're coming up out of the water, and you might be serving canned Spam on a ship somewhere.
Yeah, but again, that could be aspirational as well, the idea that I'm going to join to get to be a Navy SEAL. There's no aspirational from what I'm seeing. It's just join, and now you're going to be doing this. That's the thing. Yeah, so that's the question I've got. Yeah, and remember, retention numbers also, military struggles with that at times. And I think some in part because some of those people that signed up saw themselves jumping out of helicopters and manning drones and everything, and instead they're monitoring the paperwork to make sure all the acquisitions are okay in the commissary. That's kind of a different thing. They were like, I wasn't going to being all I can be by pushing paperwork around. That might be a difference, but I don't know.
We're talking the ICE ad blitz taking place here in Denver and across cities like Chicago, Seattle, and Atlanta. ICE's $30 billion initiative to hire 10,000 more deportation officers by the end of the year. Do you like it? I mean, when you think about the shift we've had in this country from come on over, the open border, massive amounts of people crossing over and becoming, entering into this country versus now billions of dollars being spent to recruit ICE agents and round them up and send them back. Wow, what a change has happened in America. Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. ICE ad blitz in Denver. The Colorado Sun reporting other cities aim to lure local law enforcement officers to join Trump's mass deportation efforts. They're spending a lot of money to try to hire 10,000 more deportation officers. And a really good text message here, Mr. Thorpe, from two of our listeners, actually. Will this be a 3-year job only? Essentially, if Democrat gets elected, are you going to be out of a job?
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Nicely done, texter. That's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, it
What
could
do you
be.
think?
I think that is a danger because I would assume that if the Democrats get control, that there will be some sort of a drawdown. And it might even be shorter than that. If things go badly in the midterms, we know the party holding the White House usually sheds representation in the House and the Senate during midterms. We don't know the number that could happen this time around, but if it is significant, then does the new Democrat-controlled House, Senate, or entire Congress put handcuffs, and pun intended, on the Trump administration with ICE enforcement? Do they cut the funding? Trump's been a huge fan of cutting funding to prevent programs. Do they do a tit for tat?
You live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? If you're going to put a bunch of money into a government program, at any point, that government program could be cut. So, look, I have no love lost for any ICE official that may join ICE and then lose their job in 3 years. That's the way the federal government works. And I'm also going to say that about any type of benefit you take from the federal government.
Yeah,
so,
that's good too.
you know, look, if you're going to take welfare, if you're going to take your health care, if you're going to take Medicaid, any of that stuff, if you are reliant upon the federal government, if your job is reliant upon the federal government, you are tying yourself to an institution that is racked with debate, that switches parties, and as a result, at any moment, you could be left out. It is part of the game.
Yeah, at any moment, funding can change. Just ask Mayor Mike Johnston and his whole entire homeless program. That lasted 12 months. Yeah, I went to zero.
I still love the fact that he is now spending $0 on illegal immigrants after spending $356 million on them, having a big banner out there about We Heart Immigrants, but then, the money dried up. Oh, and $0 next year.
$0. Yeah, and that was buried in the thing. Now, here's the thing. Here's the weird part when you're talking about that idea of going away, and I'm going to take this in a totally different direction just for a sec, is we have been talking behind the scenes, you and I, with me having any sort of a presence on social media. And I had been doing some research, and I ran across a guy yesterday, and well, this sucks. This takes me back to like square one, because his entire talk about getting on social media is you're building your castle on rented land.
100%.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's not an incentive at all.
Yep.
That's
no, I mean, it could be gone at any moment. But now I got to throw it out to our listeners because you just kind of you let the cat out of the bag a little bit.
Yeah.
Billy is toying with the idea of being more active on social media.
God, it just
I think it would be fantastic. Unleash the debates that take place here on X and Instagram, and you can post pictures of your snakes and all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
people would love it.
You don't want to see the weird things that I do, and that's the thing. That's the thing is I don't think I'm that interesting. I'm not.
Levels more interesting than I am.
Oh no,
I finish the show and go home and have a sandwich and watch true crime.
I do go home and do weird things, but there are times. I mean, I could have shared the fact that one of my snakes was pooping all over me last week, but while we were doing things, but I'm struggling with that because it is.
You could be the next. Who's the guy from Australia, the alligator wrestler?
Oh,
Steve Irwin.
Yeah, Steve Irwin. Oh, no, not the way. And actually, I love
Welcome
to
to Billy's Snake Shack.
Oh, God, no.
We've got snakes everywhere. Look at this beautiful python.
No, it can do that. Now I sound like pro wrestler. Check out the pythons. Yeah, that's the thing is I'm toying with the idea of, building that castle on rented land. I'd be curious about the text messages. if I was doing social media, like or dislike, would you follow just to see the craziness that I do outside of the show? I'm just curious as to whether or not I'm still mostly a no on this. And Jeff keeps trying to get me to do this, and he's doing a great job. Jeff does a great job. Follow him. He's much more entertaining. You'll find a lot more entertaining things with stuff that he's doing than any stupid stuff that's coming out of my face. And plus, you're going to have to listen about snakes and soccer. So I think that's a disadvantage, in and of itself.
And if you think Jeff and Bill should launch their OnlyFans channel where we take pictures of our feet for money, I would be willing to.
Yes. Now, the question you have is, which one of us has the hairier feet? That's the big question here.
The Hobbit feet?
Yes. Who's got Hobbit feet? That would be a challenge, though, to pick out which feet is. Yeah, whose feet. This is disgusting. We can't do this any longer.
They're
going to take us off the air.
Total corner on this program right now.
Again, it is all my fault because I started the social media. It's always my fault.
Text in on the Dan Caplis Law text line 720-819-5115. Would you like to see Bill Thorpe on some social media?
Yeah.
And which program out there? Maybe bring back a little Bill Thorpe MySpace account.
Jeez. Oh, there we go. I can do the MySpace because we can pick our favorite. We get like theme songs when you go to the page. I could do that. I can do a MySpace. So again,
would I be one of your top friends?
Yes, you would. Absolutely.
Oh, that's too kind of you.
Yes, absolutely. It's not that big of a deal. I don't have a lot of friends. So it's not the compliment you think, my friend. It is not the compliment you think. Yeah, but let us know if you would follow me. I don't care, positive or negative. Just, I'm not looking for a bunch of fans following me. I'm just looking at, is there any engagement or any interest? I have no idea.
It's going to be hilarious if no one texts in.
It'd be fantastic. It would prove what I'm saying. There's no way I should be doing this. Yeah, and
Dan
people higher up the ladder are
Law
saying this.
text line 720-819-5115. And to put a bow on this last hour, perfect text message from 2373.
Yeah.
The more I do for you, the federal government says, the more I get to tell you what to do.
Ooh, that's perfect. Nicely
exactly
done.
Right. All right, we're going to be talking about the Elizabeth School Board battle coming up. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader. We are News Talk 710 KNUS. You want some more of us? I don't know about that. We'll see.